was excited to see Dreamworks The Wild Robot for one big reason. Chris Sanders, animation legend. He has been responsible for making a lot of very memorable classics. He was the one that created Lilo and Stitch. I'm talking about the design, the writing, the directing. He voices Stitch in most medias. Yeah, yeah. The video games, the series, all that jazz. But yeah, he created Lilo and Stitch, and oh my god, 20 years later, they're still selling merchandise so strong. I really hope he's getting royalties like that from Disney. After that, he made The Croods, a DreamWorks movie about a family of cavemen, and oh my god, I compare so many movies to that one. What makes Chris Sanders special is he's more of a shower than a teller. He takes these moments where he lets his characters really absorb what they're doing. It takes his time and he slowly experiences them, so it's so atmospheric. He also applied that to How to Train Your Dragon. Not completely his pet project, but he was a director, and I give a lot of what made the first movie so special to him. Not only him, but again, Chris Sanders is a strong force in the animation world. And so he decided he's doing The Wild Robot for DreamWorks. And wow, I saw it in theaters, and it is a good reminder of why seeing movies on a big screen is just a wonderful experience. There's something about getting that much, screen in your face and the sound and just, I don't know, sharing it with strangers. It's so special. Did I like The Wild Robot? Mostly yes, mostly yes. I have a couple of pet peeves with it, a couple little things, but they're mostly just my problem. Yeah. The first problem I have with the movie is the story. Not because it's a bad story. I mean, yes, we've seen robots learning to love in other movies. The Terminator, The Iron Giant, Big Hero 6. What makes this one different is those robots were all learning to love people. In this case, the robot learns to love talking animals. Now, I'm not talking about anthropomorphized animals as much as just talking woodland creatures. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that is a nice change of pace. Yeah, it's nice, it's interesting. And I think when other robots were trying to hang out with humans, they tried to imitate human behavior. In this case, our robot, Roz, she has female pronouns. She learns animal behaviors like digging and jumping and climbing, and yeah, it's quite fascinating, and her design is beautiful. Ugh. But the problem with the story is not so much that she's the wild robot as much as when she adopts the gooseling. And this is a strictly my problem because in 2014 I saw a Korean animated movie called Leafy. And that was about a chicken who ran away from her farm, lived out, in a nice little woodland creek, and became the mother of an orphan swan, I think? Yeah, it was a swan. Swan or a duck. The point is, there were a lot of, misunderstandings between mother and son because they were different species. You would think, oh yeah, chicken is a bird closer to the swan, so it's not that hard. Chickens don't swim or fly. Yeah, big difference. And a lot of the plot points, of course, were so similar to that. It were. Oh, so that just kept getting on my nerves. But that does not mean it's a bad story. No. Do I think you can see Leafy and enjoy The Wild Robot too? For different reasons, yes. I also think, again, my problem is I've seen just so many movies. I mean, animated movies usually have this thing where they try to tug on the heartstrings because that way they're memorable to children and they'll lure them into adulthood, yada yada. And yeah, movies, even live action, try and hit your sappy points to become memorable. And sometimes they're done organically, sometimes it's plot points. Do I think The Wild Robot uses it as plot points in some parts? Yes, but it does it gracefully. So, back to Roz, the robot who has just a beautiful design. Not just her roundness, but the way she rotates, the way she flexes, the way she can just control things on her body. Just the subtleties about her. And the way she talks, in the beginning, it's all very robotic. but charming. And the fact that it's done by Lupita Nyong'o is amazing. You would think this would be just an easy role playing a robot that, learns to say I love you. But no, she is just very, very good. She knows how to really plant herself into the world. So I really thought Roz was in the world. I felt like I was in the forest with her. So the forest is made up of your woodland creatures, and a lot of their personalities remind me of other Chris Sanders movies, but in the best way. Like she becomes friends with a fox, who is a very sarcastic little liar. Hmm. Yeah, a lot of snark from him. Reminds me of the Croods characters. He's Roz's friend, her only friend, because again, heartstring stuff. The most of the other animals do not trust her. To be fair, she is a giant machine that can destroy things without trying, and natural instincts for animals are to run away from danger. So that's fair. But when she actually learns animal language, she just becomes more of an endearing weirdo. So yeah, Roz, she has a fox friend, and she has this little goose son who she tries to help, learn him, try to make sure he knows how to do the goose stuff. She does not know because she is not a goose. It's kind of like if you were to read a book on how to swim. It's not the same as learning how to swim. Yeah. But that's what I love about Chris Sanders. He really, puts you through the motions of, trying to understand and learn. That was something I loved about How to Train Your Dragon. You really did learn how to train a dragon. So yeah, what Roz learns to adapt with is asking other animals for help. And, some don't want to give it to her, some do. There's this possum mom who has, half a dozen little babies, and those babies remind me of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch because they have a comfort zone with talking about creepy things. And because it's from adorable child voices, the creepiness is just so cute to me and funny. Possums fake playing death. Each of the kids describes how they die, which really annoys the mom, but it's so cute. And Possum Mom does give a good point of where, yeah, sometimes mom instincts are programmed, and most of the time they aren't. People have different levels of maturity and wisdom and experience, and all moms are different. So, yeah, that really, I felt like a huge breath of fresh air from that. Not because I'm a mom, but because I know people who are moms. Dads, too. I think it applies to them as well, but moms are usually the ones that get a lot of the grunt without any of the thanks. So, yeah, to hear somebody else, even if it's just in a cartoon, say that it's not you, there's nothing really missing in you, we're all learning. That is nice. That is so refreshing to hear. So, other characters, you got your ragtag group of all kinds of different critters. Most of them do not like each other because, again, they just don't want to be eaten by each other. It's fair. But going into more than the characters is the design of this forest. It's beautiful. It's very much like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, where, yes, you can tell a lot of it is CG animated. A lot of the good parts, how most of Roz is, but not in a striking way, just in okay, I can kind of tell that by the movements. But everything else is done so painterly, I don't know, I recognize paintbrushes from photoshopping programs. It's all done so lovely. It's very, very lovely. What's neat is that on the forest, it's all earth tones. You got your greens, your grays, your browns. And Roz, there is some white in nature, so she doesn't completely stand out, but when she's, doing robot-y things, she has these neon colors that really pop out, and, it proves that she's different. But what's nice about the movie is how, not so subtly, but progressively, she becomes more rested, a bit more scratched up and damaged. It's those kind of details I just adore so much, where you really believe that this character is, she doesn't call attention to herself. Maybe the fox does once or twice, but no, it's more of just these things happen. As you age, you get some wrinkles, or, you get hurt along the way. The fact that it's all done so organically is sweet. The fact that the whole goose being, the underdog thing is a story that I'm kind of sick of hearing, in animated features especially. But good voice acting. Good, good voice acting. I'm pretty sure the Goose Son was done by the blonde kid from Heartbreakers, and Bill Knightley plays this older elder goose, and ugh, both of them just did a lovely job with conversating. With Roz, about Roz, just, being geese. You wouldn't think that would be very interesting, and maybe it's not to other people, but I like animals, so when I get animal perspectives on their problems, it's just so delightful. So, do I recommend this movie to anyone and everyone? Okay, I think first you have to be open minded to a lot of sap. Yeah, because this movie overall is pretty darn sappy. If you're cool with that, then yeah, go ahead. Besides that, it is just a feast for the eyes with the coloring and the choices of animations and just the wacky little things, especially the raccoons, do in this movie. Animal shenanigans. So, adults, yes, if you're open to some sap, it's fun. Kids, if you like feeling sappy, go ahead. Yeah. With all that, yeah, I think this is fine for anyone. I think the dialogue is not so sugar coated or stupefied like other animated features, so it's easy on the ears. But yeah, no, the sap is really the only thing that makes me think, don't rush to see it unless you're just in that mood. I will say, during some of the sappiest, gooey sap parts, it does almost feel like a Christmas movie. Can't believe I said that, but it's just that cozy. So, yeah, yeah. I am going to hold this movie in my heart, mostly because it seems to be one of the only original mainstream animated movies to come out for a while. Oy. While that is upsetting, I'm just glad this movie was made. I'm glad this movie looks as good as it does, was paced as well as it was, just a lot of lovely loveliness about it. So, if you have not seen it already and you're an animation fan or you just feel like something warm and fuzzy, it's perfectly nice. Lupita Nyong'o totally needs more roles. I can only think of horror movies she's been in, so she needs more roles.